Hello, and welcome to Anime Audio Commentary. Today I'll be commenting on Episode 1 of Code Geass. If you'd like to watch along, then start watching now. So, I'm kind of going into Code Geass blind. You know, everything I know about it is basically stuff I've learned through cultural osmosis. You know, it's kind of a wild ride. Everybody eats Pizza Hut. There's that one girl who gets really familiar with the table. The girl with green hair and all that, but, I don't actually know what it's about. And, I was kind of turned off by the Clamp character designs, because just sometimes I think, Clamp designs some really ugly characters, but I don't know, I heard the opening music and I just thought, you know what, I could listen to that however many times they play it at the beginning of an episode. Okay, so I'm not quite sure what I expected about Code Geass, but it certainly wasn't this. I mean, war, mechs even. Wow. I was being kind of flippant about, the table business and Pizza Hut and all that, but, this is actually kind of interesting. Oh! There's a band called Area 11, and they make, anime songs now and then. I guess this is where they took their name from. Wow. Have I been missing out this whole time? Wow, that really is a magnificent opening song. I think I just heard it randomly because I've been listening to anime music now and then, but something about that was hitting all the right notes. But, the prevalence of robots kinda surprises me. I didn't realize this was a mecha anime. And, even though this is, seemingly a considerable time period after the war with Japan having lost, there's already some intrigue, and I can only imagine... Yeah, there's a bombing in Osaka a few days ago. This has got to be, guerrilla activity by Japanese nationals who are none too happy about their situation. No doubt they want to fight back against the Britannian Empire, but... I'd imagine that seeing as how mainland Japan was conquered, then, their odds aren't good. Yeah, so I'm still struggling with the character designs a little bit, just because with everything Clamp does, it seems to be everybody is super thin and lanky, and it's a little off-putting. Okay, so one of the other things I know about Code Geass is that Lelouch here, he's a real mastermind, he's a real smart guy. I've seen comparisons between him and Light Yagami from Death Note, which is kind of appropriate, seeing as how I think this and Death Note aired concurrently, or at least within the same year, something like that. They were both around, that 2006-2007 time period. Yeah, so this is interesting, because it seems as though Lelouch has something of a gambling problem. But I'd imagine if he's like a high school student challenging rich nobles to games of chess, I hesitate to say he's a chess shark, if such a thing were even to exist, but, he sort of banks on the idea that he doesn't seem like he would be a formidable opponent to wrong foot them and win. I mean, to beat a guy in 8 minutes and change, that's not nothing. I'm no chess expert or anything, but I've had games that have gone on for half an hour. That doesn't seem unusual to me. Okay, so this guy... Oh, wow. They call them 11s instead of Japanese. That's something. I guess I didn't catch that if they mentioned it before. I mean, they call it Area 11. Wow. Yeah, I certainly sympathize a lot more with the alleged terrorists. For all I know, they're just being called that to stamp them out. Alright, so Lelouch is, kind of aloof, I guess. And, why wouldn't he be? Because I'm assuming he was that little kid in the beginning who was making it pretty clear he would destroy Britannia for the invasion. I mean, feelings like that just don't go away if you see something like that in your formative years, so... I guess given everything I know at this point, Lelouch is playing the long game here. Outwardly appeared to be a good little 11, but plotting, I guess. I mean, at this point he just seems to be a smart high school student, so I don't know what he could really do, or hope to do for that matter. Okay, so it seems like the situation is, a little tense, to the point where they actually have to deploy these nightmare frames. And that's kind of an interesting name for them, because it's, night as in a medieval night, which, I guess that checks out, but it's kind of a weird name. I think it's definitely designed to inspire terror, which, I suppose that's probably a good battlefield role for giant mech suits, They are weapons that inspire fear. Because, a tank is kind of unassuming, but if you see, a giant humanoid figure, that's got a whole different psychological weight to it. So, I wouldn't be surprised if, the nightmare frames were shock troops. They don't make up the bulk of the armed forces. But, they're at the tip of the spear, so to speak. So I guess if Lelouch wants to get in on this terrorist activity, this is probably his best opportunity, seeing as how he's maybe not involved, but he's considering getting involved. Yeah, that was something weird. I'm not sure what we're meant to assume that was. That little burst of light. I'm wondering if that's sort of indicative of nuclear weapons or something, if they've got a nuke in there and that was a little radiation, because I know it doesn't really apply, but when solar radiation bounces off the Earth's magnetic fields in the poles, that's what produces aurora borealis, and it's sort of that ephemeral light that shines and scatters. I'm wondering if that's sort of the same kind of thing. Now, Alright, there's definitely something else going on here, but I feel like, from Lelouch's perspective, just, essentially boarding this truck... Yeah, you know, it's not working out well for him, because now... I mean, the Britannian Empire, if they crushed Japan militarily, and they sort of dehumanized them and referred to them as 11s, you know, something tells me they're not going to be too willing to listen to a student who's gotten caught up with people they're decrying as terrorists. Yeah, and now that we get a look at it, that device is something. It looks like a pressure capsule or something. It kind of reminds me of Steam Boy almost, like the steam balls, I think they were called. You know, like just with like the piping and the pressure valves and all that. Oh. They have their own nightmare. Oh, this is interesting. Because I would have assumed, you know, that's like real military grade equipment. I mean, we saw in the opening what they did to tanks. But... okay. So she's got an outdated model. I guess that would make sense. Those are interesting names, you know, Glasgow, Sutherland. Probably, geographical. You know, I know Glasgow, that's the capital of Scotland. Or at least I think it is. I know it's a Scottish city. Man. So things really aren't looking good. You know, that Glasgow, as it's called, it's, I guess kind of seizing up as befits something that's outdated. But even if it was in prime condition, against two skilled opponents, things aren't looking good. Alright, Lelouch is using his noggin here. You know, he kinda knows where he is, and he can reasonably assume a destination, but, yeah, the situation isn't especially good for him. Okay. So that's something. You know, whatever it is the rebels have, it's something the government wanted to hide, which leads me to believe it's probably like a nuclear weapon or something. Something unsavory. Like, something war crime tier. Because, you know, they're making it pretty clear you want to kill the rebels and all of their associates too, so, you know, any news of this thing goes away. Oh, chemical weaponry. Yeah, that's decidedly not good, because, you know, I think generally speaking, you can't make nuclear weapons, but you really can't make chemical weapons either. Like, that was decided on much earlier in history. Man. I'm almost reminded of Godzilla -1, in that, you know, the 11s, or the Japanese, like, they're sort of living in absolute war-torn squalor. Incidentally, it's a very good film. I saw it in black and white, and I really can't recommend it enough. It's not anime, sure, but, it is a damn good film. But I'm wondering how much, like, the state of the 11s will be expanded upon. Because, I mean, surely that's gotta be, like, the crux of the issue. You know, had the Britannian Empire not done what they did, they would not have made an enemy of Lelouch, because surely he's going to be, like, a big issue. Ooh. Ouch. So this isn't good. Yeah, I mean, things are looking good. You know, sure, he might be wearing a school uniform, but, oh. Okay, maybe he can talk his way out of this. Oh. The other kid from the beginning. Oh, this is something. They find themselves on opposite sides of the battlefield. I mean, to be a Britannian soldier, like, that's something. And... oh. Curious. So I was going to say, it's very interesting that Suzaku selflessly put his gas mask over Lelouch to protect him, but it wound up not being poison gas at all. It's that green-haired girl. So I guess that begs the question, what's so special about her that the government was, well, holding her captive and trying to hide her existence, if what that one scientist said can be believed? Yeah, so I feel like no matter what, Suzaku's kind of in hot water now, just because he's seemingly palling around with the terrorists. Okay. Ooh. Suzaku's not gonna do that. I mean, he's already shown himself to be rather selfless. I don't think he would just kill regardless of orders. So I'm wondering if this is sort of setting up a dichotomy between the two of them. You know, the ends justify the means and all that. People who do and don't believe that. Oh. I take that back. Maybe Suzaku's death is the impetus that Lelouch needs to really go off the deep end. I mean, that would be something. Seeing your country burn is one thing, but if that was 10 years in the past, maybe, you know, seeing your friend gunned down for refusing an unjust order. So I'm wondering, who precisely knows what here? Like, that bald guy, I think he understands. Clovis here may or may not understand. He understands the severity for sure, that he would be disowned over something like this. Oh. What a jerk to annihilate the Shinjuku ghetto over something like this. I mean, that's just... I mean, that is an actual war crime to just sort of start butchering civilians. Wow. I have to say, I'm blown away by all of this. Like, so much is going on, and it's all pretty darn coherent. Like, I know exactly where things stand. I'm kicking myself. Why didn't I watch this sooner? Alright, so... like, Lelouch... he can't leave the girl alone regardless of whether or not she trips. But, like... how's he gonna get out of this? You know, the situation's rather dire. The only person who might have listened to him has been shot and killed. Yeah, there's all sorts of, like, little bits of intrigue here and there. And, you know, maybe a military incursion's a bit more than intrigue, but it sure is interesting. And unfortunately, it seems like, there's no way out. Not peacefully. I mean, we don't see it, but it's pretty clear the soldiers just gunned down a child. Ah, boy. That's probably the worst of the entire thing. You know, they assume he's simply a terrorist just for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Whoa. Wow. You know, I'm surprised by the level of violence, too. Like, it's not like, egregious gore, but, you know, people getting, like, shot and there being blood and everything, like, it's kind of refreshing in a weird sort of way because it feels like this is real, there's actual consequence. I mean, from Lelouch's perspective, like, the Grim Reaper might as well be standing over his shoulder with his scythe at the ready. Alright, you know, I would imagine that if you've been shot in the head, you probably can't move on account of being dead, so there's something about that girl. Okay. So I guess it's only natural to assume this is something of a Faustian bargain here. You know, he might be gaining power in the short term, but... well, I guess she's making it kind of clear he will be isolated from his fellow man. And it seems like there might be deeper consequences we don't understand as of yet. I guess the question is, what is the power that will get him out of this situation? You know, goading a bunch of soldiers pointing guns at you isn't generally advisable, but clearly he's got something to back himself up. Lelouch v. Britannia. So he's one of them, then. And I guess, they must obey this command to kill themselves. Wow. You know, I can sort of see the parallels to Death Note, kind of. They're certainly there, but boy. You know, I guess it's kind of nice he's disgusted by all of this. Well, spoke too soon, I guess. Alright, well that's it for this episode. If you've enjoyed it, then by all means, tune in for the next one. See you, Space Cowboy.